team rap Jesus. My team go hard. My team rap Jesus. We about to go far. We about to go far.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for tuning in to another session of Fervently Creations. Listen, thank you. Today we have another awesome guest today. Cannot wait to talk to this woman and hear exactly what all she is doing out there in the world. Let me tell you, as I always say, and I will continue to remind you of this, that you have to watch how you treat people, how you talk to people, or whatever, because once it comes down to it, you are who they are looking at to see the love of God. And so I tell people that there are 5 gospels. It's Matthew, Mark, Luke, John, and you. And sometimes the only one that people will read is the last one I mentioned, which is you. Sometimes the only one that they care about at the time of what they're going through is how you treated them. And a lot of times we go out and we profess that we're Christians. We profess that I believe in God, this, that, and we have a nasty attitude towards people that we feel that is less than us, that we feel that is underneath us. Or some of us, we have actually had situations to where we have been at the opposite end of that, where we had someone that we thought, hey, this is my brother or sister in Christ. And they was very rude, very nasty to us. And a lot of people do leave the church. I know some people say, oh, it's no such thing as church hurt. The same people that hurt you or whatever in the club or whatever, they still go to the club every weekend. And so let me tell you, church hurt is real. It does affect certain people once it comes from the church, once it comes from the body of Christ. So one thing that I want to just encourage you to do, and whatever it is not to give up. But as you know, we always open up with a verse. So I have a verse today to back up my advice to you of not giving up. It's come from 2 Chronicles chapter 15:7, where it says, but as for you, be strong and do not give up, for your work will be rewarded. So a lot of times we go through in life and we're trying to progress ahead of time, but we get weak, we get weary in our well-doing, and we feel fate and we feel like giving up sometimes because we don't have people that are looking at us and saying, oh, you're doing a good job, or we're looking for someone else to give us confirmation. We're looking for someone to tell us that we're doing something good. But sometimes you need to stop looking to your left and right and trying to get confirmation, validation. That is the word I am looking for. Validation from people. A lot of times we're giving more people we're valuing other people's opinions more than what we value the opinion of ourselves, or value the opinion that actually matters. So quit valuing other people's opinions so much, because it has you, eventually it gets you into a thing to where you're comparing yourself to other people, and you see what they're doing and you feel like, well, I'm not as far ahead as that I should be. Well, you don't know where they started from. You don't know where they came from. And that's the same thing with you. They don't know where you came from, where you had come from. So they might have had something that was given to them, and you might have started actually from the bottom and had to actually work your way up. But if you start comparing yourself, you won't even realize the strength that you have to do what it is. And so that is one thing. But the verse says is, for your work will be rewarded. Who's going to reward it? For one, I want to encourage people, and I'm trying not to get too far on this, because I just started talking about it. I'm like, wait a minute, hold on. I had a lot to say about this, but I'm not fixing to go there, because we do have a guest, and I do want y'all to hear from her. But a lot of times we forget to celebrate ourselves, right? So once my book had made bestseller and international bestseller on Amazon, and had ranked in 15 different categories, one thing that I did for me and the authors, even though my authors was everywhere, I went and bought me a cake that said, congratulations, best-selling authors. Why? Because I had to learn to celebrate myself. My husband was not here. My kids had to work. So it was just me. And I said, you know what? I'm going to celebrate myself. I went and had a birthday, kind of like a cake or whatever, and had them write on it. And I blew out the candles. Why? Because I'm learning to celebrate myself. a lot of times we get weary and we give up because no one else is celebrating us. I'm gonna hold right there. I promise you, because now that I think about it, I can go on this topic for a little bit. But I want to see what our guest today, Jennifer, what do you have to say about this verse? 2 Chronicles 15:7. It says,
Good
"But as for
morning.
you,"
Good
come
morning.
on.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Oh my God. I definitely agree with everything you just said. I didn't want to celebrate myself in the beginning either. Because I don't want to seem like this, sometimes when you celebrate yourself, you get a lot of enemies, you get a lot of people who are not happy for you. And I think me holding back, celebrate myself made me even feel low, like, well, I can't celebrate with my friends. But then sometimes your own friends don't want to see you happy, your family don't want to see you happy. So it was hard for me to celebrate myself. I think I'm learning little by little that it's okay to be happy for me. Especially I graduated in May of 2022 with my master's degree in
Come
criminal
on.
justice at John
Come on,
Jay.
girl.
And then I was with people that, I didn't want to say, oh, I'm happy. I didn't want to seem like, it's hard for me to be happy because I have people who wasn't there yet. I think
Yeah.
that's what it is. And you don't want to
Mhm.
seem like you're showing off or you think you're better than them. You just want to be happy. And then I
Mhm.
realized that sometimes you just got to be happy by yourself if that's the cause.
Yep.
But definitely I'm learning that. I'm learning that to this day. Because I don't want to seem like, arrogant or whatever, but I'm just happy. And sometimes I was in a dark place for 2 years.
Come
So for me to be happy now, man, listen, if you're not happy for me, I gotta leave you. And I learned that part.
You know what? And that's the thing, because but I had learned that everybody sitting on the front row is not clapping for you.
Woo!
Everyone sitting on the front row is not happy for you. And
No,
some people, they want you to succeed. They just don't want you to do it before they do.
that part right there.
You know, and
Yes,
then when you're trying to celebrate yourself and you're saying, hey, I got this going on, and then they want to
yes.
me to it or one up it. It's just like,
Yeah, and I'm not competing. That's the sad
yeah,
part. The only
it,
person I'm competing is against myself from what I
yes,
did yesterday. Like that's
exactly.
all I want to do better than yesterday. The or the day before, the year before. I just
Mhm.
want to do better. But some people don't want you to do better than them. And
They
that's why,
really,
I learned that, and I learned that it's okay to celebrate me even
mhm.
if they don't celebrate or they give you the fake applause or it's a lot of things I learned as I got older. Everything my mother said was right.
Yep.
Yes.
Like, and then we start to wonder, like, how was it that my mom was able to see that this person wasn't a true friend or was not good. but I have my daughter just turned 18, and I'm able to
Hmm.
say, no, baby, she ain't the one. Like, I need you to be careful.
Yes.
Quit being so quick to call
Hmm.
everybody your friends, and understand it's okay to have associates. It's okay
Hmm.
to, but what your inner circle, sometimes those are the ones that we have to share stuff with, because once we start releasing certain things to us, then they become dream killers, right?
Yes.
And you start telling them, hey, I want to write a book. Hey, I want to be a motivational speaker.
Ooh,
Hey, I got this,
yes.
that, and the other going on. And they're like, well, why are you doing that? And
Yes.
they
And I
don't
learned
understand
that, and
your dream.
yes, especially when I wrote this children's book, I was telling people I want to do this children's book. Why you want to be write a children's book when you have your master's? And I'm like, and then I want to be a professor. So I wanted to be a
Me
part-time
too.
professor as well. And they was like, why you want to be a part-time professor? I'm like, because that's what I want to do. Like,
Yep.
I want you to say, go ahead, Jen, do it.
Go
I don't want you to
ahead.
question me on what I want to do. Like, that's what I want to do. So you know what? I learned to not to say nothing until it's done.
Till it's done. Yep.
Until
And
it's done.
I have my best friend. We both currently are in school for our doctorate degree. So we barely talk to each other, but it's one of those things of, once we talk as a girl, once we finish this, we're going on a trip to Dubai. but it's not
Mm-hmm.
a thing to and but like you, I'm kind of like, okay, hey, after I graduate, I think I want to do like at least the online professors and stuff, right? And
Mm-hmm.
so, but they were like, huh? You know what? It wasn't for you. I wasn't even I need to learn to shut my mouth, because once I don't shut my mouth,
Ooh,
I begin to tell people, look, we're going to introduce Jennifer in a minute, y'all. Sorry, we didn't got the flow. Listen,
no, for real, no,
if she
because
don't
once you
shut
start
her
telling
mouth,
people, huh,
yes,
I learned to be quiet and just do it and then show you once I've done it.
yep,
Because once you keep telling people, even when I had, I was in school, they like, why you in school? You got your bachelor's. I'm like, that's not enough for me.
kind of
It's not enough. Just say, Jen, go do it. Like, or why you doing? Like, it was always a question after. Like, no, that's what I
that,
want to do. So I learned to just be quiet, do it,
yes,
and then
yes.
let them know after.
Yes, and another reason why I had learned to be quiet is because sometimes you have people in your ear that speak to your fears and they speak to your
Mm,
doubt, because I'm already unsure and I'm already walking by faith on this thing. I'm
baby, you
already
preaching, baby.
battling
You.
that someday I'm going to say, you know what? I don't want to do
Mhm,
another paper. I
mhm,
like, this is too much, and I don't need
mhm,
anybody that's going to speak to my fears or speak to my
mhm,
doubt, because then I'm going to give up. Then I
mhm.
won't reach my mark. Then I won't reach the prize. I won't reach
Mhm.
what it is that I'm trying to obtain if I got people that's
Exactly.
going to speak to my doubt and to my fears. So, but we're going to talk a little bit more about do not give up. But first, Jennifer, can you please introduce yourself to the
I'm
people?
sorry.
Y'all,
Um,
y'all, we are so
and
sorry. We are so sorry. We just got to talking like y'all were not in the room, like we didn't know who y'all
exactly.
were. We apologize. Jennifer, tell the people who you are.
So I am Jennifer Arzu, a mother, God's child, an author, a college grad. I'm also a founder of Divine Grace with Stability, LLC. And my book is
Awesome.
called Never Give Up on Yourself.
Come on. So, look, since we're talking about never give up on yourself, and like you said, she
Mhm.
wrote the book. What gave you the passion behind this book? Let me see if I can pull the book up for y'all.
Yes.
Listen, there we go.
It is
Never
in
give up.
English and Spanish, so you guys can definitely
Thank
get it.
you. Oh, so tell us tell us a little bit about Never Give Up.
Mhm. Okay. I'll tell you exactly how it started. Um, so I was harassed at work. Um, I never experienced harassment in my life. It was from 2017 to present. I was harassed. And then when I made my 1 year, because I work for the city, so once I made my 1 year, I said, let me tell somebody. So I went to, people in management. I told them, um, and they did nothing. Um, I didn't know I was suffering from PTSD or depression until one time, I think my son was like 8 or 9 years old. I'm not sure his age. And he said, Mommy, you don't hug me no more. And that's when I knew something was wrong. Um, and I was in a dark place for like three years probably. And I would tell people exactly how it made me feel. Started going to therapy, and because I blame myself, I said, maybe it's me, maybe because I have breasts and a butt, maybe it's because of me. But when my therapist says not you, it's them. Um, then it hit me. Like it took a long time for me to go to therapy because in our community, when you hear therapy, you hear that only people who's not right go to therapy. But that
Mm-hmm,
wasn't true. So I was always scared to go to therapy. I was like, I'm not going to therapy because of what was told to me as a young girl. Like
mm-hmm,
therapy, especially when you grow up with, people from 1940. My mother, who's 73 years old, she made it seem like therapy was wrong. But
mm-hmm,
therapy helped me out. Therapy made me realize that it's not me. Therapy allowed me to go back to school and finish. And they was like, just continue pushing on. Um, And I wanted, because kids are never told to never give up. I was never told that as a young. I don't think nobody ever said never give up to me. And because I have a kid, I wanted him to know never to give up. Like, you're gonna go through some dark days in life. You're gonna go through some light days in life, but you don't give up, no matter how it looks. My mother told me to always use your enemies as your footstool. Um, so what I went through, I just transformed it to, you know, a better, how could I say this? A better outlook of how, because I was really in a dark space. Like, I was crying, and I didn't knew that I was depressed. I thought it was normal.
Yeah.
I thought it was normal. I'm like, but every day that I went to work, I was harassed. And then I said, I want more. And I kept telling myself that in my head, I want more. And for me to want more, I have to do more.
Come on.
And that's when the book came out. I went to sleep one day, and God spoke to me in my ears and was like, write this book. And I'm like, but I don't have no funds for it. He said, write the book anyway. And one day I just went home from work, and I started typing, and I wrote my book. And that's how I came to never give up. Because I want kids to understand that it's important to start as a young age, to know to never give up, no matter your dream. There's going to be people talking to you. There's going to be people telling you can't do it, you can't succeed, you won't be this, you won't be that. You just got to tell yourself never give up, and then start from a young age.
It does. And I think some of us, even as adults, still need to tell the little girl and the little boy in us never to give up. To go back and give that little girl, little boy that's trapped in that cage, or trapped behind some walls and trapped in a box on the inside of us, never give up.
Never give up.
And so, but you did mention something that I want to touch on real quick. And I want to quickly, and we'll quickly go back to the book, but you talked about PTSD. And as a soldier, I know a lot of times they sit there and say, oh, the soldier got PTSD, and they think, that only soldiers suffer with PTSD, but they don't realize post-traumatic stress syndrome is our disorder, however they want to say it, is anything that you deem traumatic, right? So what I might had a car wreck, and someone might not have, and I might not consider it traumatic, like, oh, okay, whatever. But somebody else, it could scare them to the point, it could be so traumatizing to them that they never want to drive again.
Exactly.
And so even once it comes to sexual harassment, sexual assault, being raped, being molested, car wrecks, being in some severe weather, like people that, I'm not even fixing to go as far as saying Hurricane Katrina or something like that, but even a severe thunderstorm, it could that caused a tree to fall, whatever traumatized that person, it can affect them in such a way to where it can cause PTSD. And it's a lot of people walking around with PTSD
and don't know it.
And do not know it. And what happened with me, how I got delivered, because mine, though I am a soldier, my PTSD mainly came from things that had happened before the age of 18. And so before I even joined the military, but what happened was I kept replaying those things in my mind over and over again. I could smell something, and it has flashed images just as clear as day to me. And so, but a lot of people do not realize that PTSD is not just limited to soldiers.
No,
it's not. And so I thank you for mentioning PTSD and that. So once it comes to I'm sorry.
No, it's okay.
You said something else that was so good. How a lot of people of color in older people do not believe in going to therapists. They see it as a sign of weakness, not realizing it takes a lot of strength to be able to sit there and look at someone and say, I'm not okay.
It definitely does. Because I used
And
to cry. And I when I tell my story, I used to like pour tears, like cry. And she was like, "You're suffering from it." I'm like, "No, I'm not. I didn't know what was PTSD until I went through it. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, but the feeling I went through, it was a dark feeling, like it was a cloud it was, my shoulders was heavy, like it felt like I can't breathe, like it was so, because I never went through that. And
right.
as a little girl, my father said, if anybody does anything to you that's you don't like, just let me know. But when your father's no longer alive, who do you let know? You know.
Yeah.
So I had to go through that moment. And I wanted people to believe me. And that was my another problem. I wanted people to believe me. Like, no, I'm going through this. Like, I'm going through this. I'm going through the harassment. It makes me feel disgusting.
Yeah.
It made me, I didn't feel right. And when my mother said, when you don't feel right, that means something's wrong. So when you let people know, and as us, as Black people, they don't believe you. And and I fought with that, and I'm still fighting. Like, why? How many times do I have to tell you? Like, these jobs just don't believe you. That's all I'm just saying. The jobs don't. It's not that they don't. They just don't care. Like, oh, like
They don't.
It's just in the Black community, it's hard for a woman to say she was harassed.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? It's
because
very
because
hard.
they think that we brought it on us. I cannot help that I have hips, that I have curves, I have butt, I have breasts. I can't, and I should not have to walk around like a grandmother once I say grandmother, I shouldn't have to walk around in a big moo or whatever to hide myself and walk in shame. Or so what
Exactly.
happens, we sit there and we teach so often to tell women to respect their self, respect their bodies. But where's the teaching in the young men to tell the young men to respect a woman's body and not to treat us as a possession? Like, where are those teachings at? Because you hear them all day in the pulpit, even from women preachers and stuff. Y'all walking around here with these short mini skirts on and da 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 da. You hear all that stuff, and it's just like, but where is the teaching? Why don't y'all keep that same energy?
Exactly.
Just as hard once it comes to the men. Where are the men that said that, hey, you treat her as such? And she's
you value her.
Yeah, you value her. And so it's so many of us now that we're trying to get our value, because on top of that, you have someone that don't know their value, and the only image they have is what they do see in the world. Is only image that they do have, or example, is what they see with videos of people that are walking around half naked. So they feel like that's but then at the same time, I think sometimes with Black women with certain types of shapes, ones that are curvy, let's say that curvy, right? Curvy women, sometimes we attract unwanted attention. We attract the unwanted, and we didn't ask for it, but it affects us, and it affects how I remember. And so I've been molested by 5 different people. I've been gang raped twice before the age of 18, right? And so I remember in my healing process, at one time, my husband, he would walk by and he'll kind of touch me or whatever. And I felt like he touched me too much. And eventually it started making me, but before we got married, hey, I was good. I'm fun and everything. I was, but after being married a little while, I started realizing that I was more than just sex, that I was more, and that it was okay to say no if I did not want to have sex, but I abused that power. But but one time I looked at my husband, I said, it's sickening. It's sickening. It's sickening.
No, because it messed up your relationship. It messed up a lot of relationships. The trust issues, a lot of things that I was going through. I didn't know that it was because of that.
No.
And I didn't know. I like, even if you stare at me, I'm like it makes you feel uncomfortable sometimes. Yeah. So it took a long time. I think I'm learning to heal. I'm in a healing process still. I'm probably going to be in a healing process for a long time, but it's just, little by little, I'm opening myself more. I'm talking more. I just didn't want to, if I didn't know you, I wouldn't speak to you. Like, because I'm scared what you're going to do to me.
Yeah.
And
And
that was the dark side of it.
yeah, and that healing process, it can last for a while because it's layers to healing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because I got to heal first at the surface and start digging, digging out and getting down to the core of it. And so,
Mm-hmm.
but sometimes once you get down to one thing, you might reveal something else that you didn't even know you needed to be healed from, that
Mm-hmm.
you never knew. And that's where the mindsets come in. I
Mm-hmm.
never knew that some of my thinking was toxic, or some of the
Mm-hmm.
misconceptions of reality that I had, because I've always had them.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't even know something wrong with the way. And so it takes layers and layers. And so I'm constantly healing from something, but that's the reason why I say, hey, you can't judge me off who I was last
Mm-mm.
year, who I was
No.
earlier this year. You can't even judge me off of who I was last week, because I didn't change.
Honey, it's the growth. It's called growth.
And so people walk around, oh, you didn't change, you changed. I'm
Mm-hmm.
supposed to
Mm-hmm.
change.
Exactly.
I'm
Exactly.
changing, but I'm healing.
Mm.
And in my healing process, and some people only want to be connected to you because they
Mm.
like to see you hurt. And once I
Mm.
start healing, that means I'm also healing from other things that thoughts and conversations that I no longer want
Mhm.
to engage in or talk about.
Mhm.
Girl, I can talk
Yes,
about this.
baby girl. Yes, I definitely I start to see things in a different view. Like I start to um I ask God every time, God, if that person is for me, blessing,
Hmm.
and if he's not, remove me. I don't want to be nowhere toxic. It could be friends, family, or relationship. I just don't want to. I don't want toxicity in my life no more. I dealt with that, and it hurts. It's not a nice feeling. Um, so I have to go through these things. I think God put these things in my life for a reason, so He can make
Yeah.
me stronger now. Like I'm super, super, like I'm super thankful. Like I'm not even hurt no more. I'm thankful because it made me a different person. Like I can feel it.
Yeah.
I'm closer to God now.
Mhm.
Um, not saying I wasn't close before, but now I
It's a
feel His
different type of
presence.
connection.
It's
Yeah.
this connection. I feel His presence. Like when I go to sleep, when I go home from work, I just feel it. I feel it all around me. And I'm like, God, thank you. It was you. It was
Yeah.
you that told me to go this way instead of that way. He
Hmm.
changed my whole life. He changed my whole life.
Yes. You know what? And I think it's good. Sometime, and I'm not saying every bad situation that
Mm-hmm.
happened to us, but we get that strength, and we're able
Mm-hmm.
to, and I call it grave diggers. We're
Mm-hmm.
able to go back and dig other people out of their graves that they felt like they have been buried alive in. That
Mm-hmm.
ones that have actually, and going off the title of your book, that have given up, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we're able to go back and say, let me help you up out of your grave. Let me
Mm-hmm.
tell you that you are not dead. Let me tell you
Mm-hmm.
that it's still life in you. Let me tell you that you
Babe.
can. But what
Mm-hmm.
happens is, a lot of us, we come up out of our graves and we put on our new garments. We take off our
Mm-hmm.
grave clothes, put on our new garments, and we act as though we have never been in that situation, that we don't know
Mm-hmm.
how it feels, that we've never
Mm-hmm.
slept with somebody's husband, that we've never
Mm-hmm.
been drunk, or that we never smoked, or whatever. And we go in and
Mm-hmm.
we put on this righteous hat like we've never done anything.
Exactly. And we comment on people like that's how I felt like um I wanted people to believe me. I don't
Yeah.
know if you ever felt like that. Like,
Hmm.
look, I was calling out for help, and I wanted people to believe me. Um, and it felt like you was by yourself. But then I said, I have all these people attacking me at work. Every day that I go to work, a different person, because I spoke up. So it felt like a lot of people were just attacking me. And I'm
Yeah.
like, I'm one person. That's a lot to deal with. To
Yeah.
have your whole management continue to like throw stones at you or try to break you. And I'm
Hmm.
like, But I'm like, nah, I'm never going to give up. I'm never going to stop telling my story. This is my story. This is what happened to me. This is how I had to come out. You know what I'm saying? And I think I just wanted people to believe me. And I know they believe me, but they like, oh, I'm not telling because this is my job. This is how I feed my
Mhm.
child. And I understand this is how you feed your child. But then you're going to let this continue to the next
Yeah.
person. The
And so,
next
and
person
somebody else gonna have to deal
and
with it.
somebody else. And then it could happen to your child. And it don't have to be only a female. It could be a man.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? It could be your son, your daughter. Don't ever think it could just happen to a girl because it can't. It could happen to both sex. You
Yeah.
understand? So um I just wanted people to believe me until I went to God. And I learned to
Mhm.
tell God, you saw it before you knew it before I went through it. Like, you
Mhm.
know what I'm saying? So I just went to him, I cried to him, and I left it there. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Because I know that I don't wish karma on nobody, but I know they'll get whatever in a later
And
time
they say sometimes God
in
can handle
return.
someone far better than what you can. And so,
Exactly.
so I've learned now to say, you know what? I'm not even fixing. I put God on you.
Yeah, they
I put
I
God
put
on you.
God on you. That's
I put
it. I
God
put
on you.
God on you. And I
And
learned that.
whatever He does with it, or
That's
I
it.
say, Holy Spirit, convict their hearts.
Mm-hmm.
But besides that, no. Why?
No,
I
exactly.
have other stuff to because now you've become a distraction to me.
Mm, there
If
you
I
go.
sit here and I spend all that attention on
On
what you
you.
and I allow you to live rent free in my head.
Exactly. So I put my energy on something better. I was like, let me go to school. Let me get my
Hmm.
master's. Let me do my book. Let me work on me. And
Hmm.
that's the best thing you could ever do is work on yourself.
Yep. And my new response to people that are not happy for me or people that do me wrong is elevation.
Mm,
That's my response. Elevation.
hmm
I'm gonna continue to elevate.
Yes. And
Continue to
that's the
elevate.
most important thing you could do is elevate. Do it
Hmm.
and do it for yourself. Don't do it
Yep.
for other people because other people won't. You know what I'm saying? Just do it for
Yep.
you. And I learned to just do it for myself.
Yeah.
For myself.
Yes. That is awesome. So you mentioned earlier your the Divine Grace with Stability LLC. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
So because what I went through with the harassment, God allowed me to walk through it gracefully. I don't have no harm. I don't feel like I don't wish nobody no harm, no anything. Is the divine part. Each and every one of us have a divine, something divine about us. That's going to pull us through or either sink you. So I was able to divine through what I went through, my trauma gracefully. And the stability part is because I'm still standing. So I want to give everybody that chance to, no matter what you're going through, it don't have to be harassment. It could be rape. It could be losing someone. It could be anything.
Mhm.
Just be able to. I want you to be able to stand there gracefully and turn your situation around to something
Yes.
stronger. Because we all have a purpose,
Hmm.
and we have to use our purpose gracefully. So
Yes.
that's
Yes.
where I come in with my founder of my
And you know what? I think too, because you give them also that opportunity of how you give them the opportunity to be heard. You give them the
mhm,
opportunity to have someone that's going to believe them. And I know, like with children, especially those that's been molested, I know that you say, you keep telling someone until someone believes you. Keep telling, telling,
mhm,
telling. And I think a lot of females have started to get into that thing where we'll talk. We'll talk about
mhm,
our story. We'll tell our story, and we'll tell and tell and tell until we feel like our voice have been heard. Um,
mhm,
and some people you do it into their healing, but some people until someone actually say, "I hear you." I hear
mhm,
you. I hear your heart. I hear what you're going
mhm,
through. I hear your pain. And sometimes
mhm,
that's all we need is for someone to say, I hear you.
mm.
I hear you.
That part. That
I
part.
hear
I
you.
just wanted someone at work to say, I heard you. I
Hmm.
see it. Like I'm gonna help you. That's all I wanted. I didn't get it, but that's okay. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? God sees everything. He saw this. So even though I didn't get it, um, it's okay for me.
Yeah.
Because I know that they did wrong. And that's all that matters. Like you know what you did, it's fine. I'm gonna heal from that. You have to learn to. I think it's the healing process. A lot of people don't go through the healing process. They just want to
No.
go over the healing process. And in order for you to get through what you need to get through, you got to go through the healing process. It's important to go through the healing process.
I think one of the first steps for is healing for me was not one. I would say it's in the top two, but forgiveness, right? And a lot of times we don't heal because we are unwilling to forgive. We don't heal because we still want to hold on to the emotions that I feel, because we look, whether intentionally or unintentionally, we look at the fact that if I forgive them for what they're doing, I'm saying that it's okay. That I'm saying it's okay that you hurt me. It's okay that you did. And that's not true. And so I've learned now that, hey, that forgiveness is something that you have to take that step. And a lot of times we say, you know what? Oh, I'm gonna forgive Jennifer, or whatever, because I'm gonna say, oh, I forgive Jennifer because she stole my man. Let's go real girlish. Okay, so I'm gonna forgive Jennifer because she stole my man, and that's cool or whatever. I can forgive her. I don't have to hang out with her and stuff, but I forgive her. But we don't actually say, I forgive Jennifer because I feel like because she betrayed. I felt betrayed by Jennifer. I forgive Jennifer because Jennifer made me feel unsafe. Or we don't forgive the emotions behind the act. And once we become hoarders of emotions, now we're trying to figure out, why is it that I don't feel okay? It's because I have hoarded all these emotions. Some people might say spirits, whatever you want to call it. That's fine. Spirits, emotions. You've hoarded all this stuff, this negativity. Some people call it energy, whatever you want to call it. Once you become hoarder of the negative stuff, the negative emotions that happen to you, then you try to figure out, okay, why do I feel like this? Why? And believe it or not, why am I aching in my body? What's going on with my stomach? Why I can't lose weight? Why? And it all goes down to the emotions that you have held onto because of something that has happened to you. So until you're able to get with pen and paper, and I like to say a fireplace, get with pen and paper in a fireplace or a grill or something, and say, or a barrel, and say, you know what? I choose to release this emotion out of me. Such and such, acknowledge it. That's the first step. I have to acknowledge first that Jennifer hurt me. I have to go and say, she hurt me. And when she hurt me, I felt like X, Y, X. And I no longer want to feel like X. And I get rid of it. And then say, when she hurt me, I felt, or when she did this, I felt like this. I felt like, and I no longer want to feel like why. And so I get rid of it. And when she hurt me, I felt like Z. And I no longer want to feel like Z. And I got to get rid of it. I release it from me. And or sometimes I just, if I don't do it with fire, of burning it with fire, I say, and God, I no longer want to feel this emotion. And I give it to you. I place it at your feet. So to me, I'm placing it at your feet. I'm no longer walking back to it. So I had, so I like to burn mine, but I had someone say they do with theirs is that they put it in a box, and at any moment that they feel like they have, they feel that emotion again, they go back and take it back out because they put it in a box that says what I've given to God. But at any moment they go back and pick up that emotion, they go back out, they go back physically to that box and take what they wrote on that index card, and they hold on to it, because now it's showing them with their eyes that I don't trust God with this. I don't trust God with this hurt. I don't trust God with this prayer request. I don't trust God. And so since I'm going to worry about it, or since I'm going to hold on to this emotion, let me go back and get it back out of God's hands, who I said I gave it to. And so sometimes we just don't release the negative emotion behind the act, and we stay stuck, and we don't know why we're stuck. And then some stuff comes to be anniversary type, every year around the 4th of July, I'm sad and I'm depressed and I don't even realize it. Or it could be every year around a such and such time, I'm sad, and you start looking like, oh, because it's such and such birthday,
Mhm.
who I lost, or this is the anniversary that I had got raped, or this is once I,
Mhm.
we don't realize it.
Mhm.
So, yeah,
No,
I'm sorry.
but literally, I'm not going to sit here and say I forgave them the first time. It was hard for me to forgive.
Yeah.
It was very hard for me to forgive, um, because I wanted to let them feel the same way I felt. To tell you the
Mm-hmm.
way my mind was thinking, I
Mm-hmm.
wanted to get back to them what they gave me. And I'm not going
Mm-hmm.
to sit here and try
That's
to
real
change my
talk.
story. That was real talk. My
Mm-hmm.
therapist was like, Jennifer, write, because I never wrote in a journal about this. So she's like, write in your journal. And she's like, write it to whoever. And one day I just sat down on my couch and I wrote, Dear God. And
Mm-hmm.
that's how I start on my journey. Dear God, just allow me to heal from this.
I
Like I
love
wanted
your
to
journal.
heal. Yes, and I wanted to forgive. Let me allow to forgive and heal. And sometimes, you do go back there and you but I read it and I told God, once I leave this with you, please heal me from it. I just want to be healed. At this point, I want to be healed.
Yeah.
It took away some time that I can't get back.
Yeah.
It took away some time with my child that I can't get back. The people I love, I can't get those things back at all. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? I was in a dark place, wasn't happy, gaining weight, losing weight,
Mm-hmm.
gaining weight. I was just eating like it was a depression. Like I never knew I had it. That's because I kept being denial about it. Like, no, I don't got that.
Yeah.
I don't got PTSD. I don't got that. What's that? Like, I was denial. I was in a place where I was like, I never expect this to happen to me.
Mm-hmm.
And I just don't. And now I understand when women, I mean, not to say I got raped or anything, but you'll start to understand other people when they say that they went through this or went through that. And this is you'll understand. And this was my first
Hold
time
on
ever
one
going
second.
through.
1 second. Never minimize what you went through just because you didn't get raped or molested. It still
Okay.
affected you just the
It
same.
affected me,
I'm, I'm,
yes.
I'm sorry. I'm
No,
sorry.
no, no, no. I'm sorry. No, no, not like that. But I didn't
Never minimize
understand.
what you went through.
No, but I never went through it. This was my first. I mean, I don't want to count how many times, but I just went through it and I just didn't like it. I didn't like it. You didn't even have to touch me, but talk to me the way he was talking to me, and she was egging it on. Another superintendent was egging it on, like, and then when I bust once I made my year, because you make a year at a city
Mhm.
job. The real me came out. Oh no, I'm standing on my ground. Enough is
Yeah.
enough. Yeah, I did this for the first. No, that's it. This
Yeah.
stops today. And
Enough
once
is
you put
enough.
your once you put your finger down, this stops today. Enough is enough. You're not going to continue doing this to me. It makes me uncomfortable. I
Mhm.
don't like it. I
I
don't like
feel
it. So
violated.
I felt violated, disrespected. Like,
Yeah.
I'm a mother. I'm a woman. I'm a mother. So for me, I'm a sister. I'm a daughter. I'm a friend. So for me to
Mhm.
go through that and not be happy, I wasn't. It was never no time that I was happy. I wasn't. You know what I'm saying? But once I start going to therapy, I start learning that leave it to go. Like, leave all your pop, write it in a journal. The
Mhm.
journal will save your life because you'll go back in
I
and you'll be like,
love
oh,
it.
I went through that. And then you start crying like, oh my God, I came out of that.
You see
I
how
never knew I could
strong
come
you
out.
are now
I
compared to
never
when
thought I
you
could come
first
out of
started
it.
writing. Yeah.
Yes, I never knew I
So,
could come out of it.
and another thing that people forget to is forgiving themselves. you know and that's the hardest one, because
Mm,
we have to forgive ourselves sometimes. It's not saying
mm,
I'm saying something was my fault, but
mm-hmm.
I have to forgive myself on certain things. Of saying, okay, I forgive myself for not saying something sooner. I forgive myself for this, that, and another. And we don't want to be honest and bold enough to say, okay, hold on,
Mm,
I'm a little angry at myself, I'm a little upset
mm,
with myself because I didn't have, or whatever. I
mm-hmm.
should not have went to that party, or I should not have been drinking and stuff,
Mm-hmm.
or whatever. And I had to learn that while I was releasing forgiveness on to other people, that I had to also release
Start from you.
forgiveness to
Mm,
me. and to
Mm.
God, right?
Yes.
Because a lot of us don't even admit that it's some things that happen to us and we get mad with God for allowing it to happen.
Mm.
Because we know nothing can happen to us unless
Mm.
unless he allow it.
Mhm.
So we get
Mhm.
upset that you even allowed me to go through this, and are you allowed me to
Mm.
go through this for so long, and you
Mhm.
didn't come see about me?
Yes. You speaking, girl. Listen. You
And,
are speak. Yes. I was really mad at myself. I was mad that I let these people do that to me. I was mad. Like, Jennifer, where was your voice at? It felt like I lost my voice during
yeah,
that time. You
yeah,
understand? I was really mad at myself. I learned to forgive myself later on. Because I took the therapist was what's what like why are you still not healing? I said because I never forgave myself. I
yeah,
never forgave myself. Um, until I learned she's like, see, you know what you need to do. Like she was my therapist was the best therapist that I had two because
hmm,
during the COVID, certain people, it was hard to
yeah,
reach out to your so I had to get another therapist. And then I spoke
hmm,
to both of them and they was like, you're in the right path. You don't
yeah,
see it yet, but you're in the right path. Like you're
yes,
speaking about it. And then little by little I stopped, the tears won't come down because I'm starting to feel healed. I'm healed
yeah,
from the process and it feels good.
yeah,
It's definitely it's a I'm not saying that sometimes I don't feel depressed, like or go through that moment, like oh, like you go back like, or you see that person and you like,
mhm. I just got healed from depression last year, um, and it came with a mindset. So one of the things was I was sitting there and God had said, spoke to me. He said, look up your name. And I looked up my name,
mm,
and my name is actually Letitia, not Tish, but
okay,
Letitia.
okay,
Letitia means joy and happiness. So it meant I was not depressed. I was not anxious. I was not fat. I was not ugly. I
mm,
was joy and happiness.
mm,
That's the opposite of depression. That's the
mm,
opposite of anxious. And I began to tell myself multiple times a day, I had alarms going set on my phone to start speaking. I'm joy. I'm
mm,
happiness.
mm,
I'm this, I'm that. And I
mm,
start doing affirmations, speaking back over myself, giving myself that life. But I also began to start realizing when those symptoms start going on, because I start paying attention to what emotions and how I was speaking to myself for one, what I
mm,
was saying about myself. So I started
mm,
paying attention to that, but I also began to pay a little bit more attention to how I was feeling about certain things. And I was able to start noticing whenever I would whenever I was heading in that direction. But it took me years because, like you
mm,
said, a lot of times you go into a big depressive state and you don't even know it until it's too late. You're so
mm,
deep into the
mm.
depression
Yes.
where you don't even realize it. You don't even realize for a week you hadn't got out your bed, for a week that I came home and I did, the kids came home, I cooked, I did
Mhm.
whatever I needed to do or whatever. As soon as everybody left, I crawled right back up in that bed and
Mm,
did. I sat there and I did my
mm,
homework, did what I had to do,
mhm.
and I get right back in.
Yep.
People don't even realize it, or you try to do stuff to kind of trick your mind. But now it's just like, wait a minute. So now I'm able to understand when it's
Mhm.
coming, when it's getting ready to come in. So before we go,
Okay.
what is one word that you would just give, all right, piece of advice you want to give people about healing? Or
Um,
not give, whatever advice, what is piece of advice you want to leave us with?
Grace. I don't think we give ourselves enough grace. We don't. We leave that out. Um, but grace is the first word that came up in my mind. Um, God allowed me to go through things gracefully and never go back to believing that you know what you're doing um in your mind, like what you're doing is not enough. Always be grateful for what you have. Always be thankful for what you are given. Um, and don't look at somebody else's table and think that yours is half empty. Walk with grace at all times. I think that's most important, is to walk with grace. No matter how it looks, walk with it. It's very powerful to be walk with grace. I think we leave that out so much in life. We don't walk with grace. Um, it's an important tool for me to walk with grace.
Mhm.
Because I used to look at everybody else and just be like, how they doing it? How they doing better than me? You always try to compete with somebody. Um, and that's, you don't know how they got there. Your story is different from their story. So
Yeah.
walk with your story with grace.
Yeah. And I agree. One of the things I did have to learn too was to apply grace to myself. I got me a coach earlier this year, and that was one of the things that we had to work on, was me applying grace to myself. And sometimes we apply grace to everybody else. We give other people more grace than what we give ourselves, and we do not apply grace to ourselves. So I
Yeah.
thank you. I thank you. I thank you for coming on. Tell the people how they can get in touch with you, how they're able to reach out to you and connect with you.
So you can definitely, my website is www.dgws2022. My email address is dgws2022@yahoo.com. And my Instagram is dgws2022 as well. Everything is the same. It stands for Divine Grace with Stability. Since 2022, I launched it. That's why it's 2022.
Awesome, awesome. It just it just hit me just a few months ago of what it actually has stood for, the
Oh,
DGW.
yes. Mm.
So listen, I thank you, Jennifer,
I
for
thank you for
coming.
having me.
I truly enjoyed talking with you on today.
Mhm.
And look, we're sorry, y'all, if we forgot that y'all were listening to our conversation and we was just talking. But I love it. I love it. I love it. Jennifer, thank you for coming on. You're
Thank you for
welcome back.
having me. Thank you.
You're welcome back anytime, anytime. So whether you have a new book or whether you just want to talk, just hey,
Mhm.
you are welcome to come on the show.
Thank you. Thank you.
And so, just like I have invited Jennifer back, let me tell you, everyone, you are welcome as well to come to the show. Come talk with me. If you are a Christian that is in business, go to www.ferventlycreations.com and schedule a show to come and talk with us as well. I do want to put up one more time before I put up my information. I want to put up hers because, again, I'm all about promoting people. Please go to Amazon or go to www.dgws2022.com and purchase Never Give Up on Yourself. Listen, if you're going on Amazon, please make sure you leave a review. Please leave a review on the book as well. So we do want to support it, but if you have children, get this book. This also makes a good, we got Christmas coming up. Please go out, and we have to start empowering and encouraging our children to never give up on themselves, no matter what anybody else believes in them. So I thank her for that. Also, as we talked a lot, I do want to mention that I do have another anthology coming up. I know some people were saying, hey, I missed the last one. Listen, if you missed the last one, let's give you a bigger picture. If you missed the last one, please do not miss this one. You do not want to miss this next one. It's Prisoner of War in the Mind. You can become a contributing author. You can write a chapter in the anthology. Don't worry about your grammar. We have someone that will edit the chapter for you. They won't change your words, but they will edit. It comes with your promotion graphics. We do 3 coaching sessions to tell you exactly how to write your chapter. We tell you how to brand yourself and how to get your investment back, how to go and sell your books. But it's also of course, we have TV show guest opportunities. So not only will you be welcomed on this show, you also will have other opportunities. You'll have a magazine opportunity. You get a chance to write with some best-selling authors. I'm already 4-time four-time best-selling author and multi-international best-selling author. So you get a chance to write with women such as myself, but other women as well that are best-selling authors. And trust me, we know how to push it to make sure that everybody will become a best-selling author on this book. We can guarantee that you will become best-selling author or your money back, is because we know how to push it. But also there is a speaking engagement with this, because we do have a conference that is attached to this. So if you are interested in it, please go to the website ferventlycreations.com to get the information. Go to where it says author call, anthology author call, and that's where you can get the information. So again, we thank our guest Jennifer for coming out. Listen, make sure you connect, make sure you network with her. As we always say, networking is not just about connecting people, it's about connecting people with people, people with ideas, and people with opportunities. So if you did miss her information, again, I want to put it up there one more time, www.dgws2022.com, or you can reach out to her at her email. You can email her at dgws2022 at yahoo.com, and she is on Instagram, so make sure you go and follow her as well at DGWS2022, and that stands for, again, Divine Grace with Stability. So we just thank you all for coming out and listening, coming out and joining us on today. May you have a blessed evening, blessed day, and stay tuned for more shows. Thank you.
My team rap Jesus, we about to go far.